Press.
ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिः यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैर्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति नः इन्द्रो वृद्रश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नः तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 यो अन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाच इमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयति अखिलशक्तिधरस्वदाम्ना अन्यांश्तहस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् लसतु श्रीमदानन्दतीर्थेन्दुर्नो हृदम्बरे यद्वचश्चन्द्रिका स्वान्तसन्तापं विनिकृन्तति पदवाक्यप्रमाणज्ञान् प्रणम्य शिरसा गुरून् व्याकरिष्ये यथाभूतं विष्णुतत्त्वविनिर्णयम्. So, yeah, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. Thanks for joining for the 45th session of Mundaka Upanishad. So, we are right in the middle of the first kanda of the Tritiya Mundake. Dvasuparna Sayuja Sakaya Samana Vriksham Parishashvajate Tayor Anyaha Pippalam Swadatti Anashnan Anyaha Vichakashiti Samane Vrikshe Purusho Nimagnaha Anishaya Sotari Muhyamanaha Jushtam Yada Pashyati Anyamisham Asya Mahimanam Iti Vita Shokaha यदा पश्यः पश्यते रुक्मवर्णं कर्तारमीशं पुरुषं ब्रह्मयोनिं तदा विद्वान् पुण्यपापे विधूय निरञ्जनः परमं साम्यम् उपैति प्राणो हि एष सर्वभूतैर्विभाति विजानन् विद्वान् भवते नातिवादी आत्मक्रीडः आत्मरतिः क्रियावान् एष ब्रह्मविदां वरिष्ठः सत्येन लभ्यः तपसा हि एष आत्मा सम्यक् ज्ञानेन ब्रह्मचर्येण नित्यम् अन्तःशरीरे ज्योतिर्मयो हि शुभ्रो यं पश्यन्ति यतयः क्षीणदोषाः. So that is where we are at this point. Let's think about all the rishis, Atharva, Angira, Satyavaha, Angirasa, Shuanaka, and all the acharyas, Aksharanamaka, Paramatma, the Devata of this Upanishad, and all the chandas, Anushtup, and so on. Okay. So, a quick recap. So, last week, we did spend a lot of time actually thinking about the philosophy of Satyam. And this is really, really important. One of the key ideas of the Upanishads. Yeah. So, a comprehensive of review of Satyam we did last week. And this is a very brief recap of what is it about Satya. Okay. Satya is not just truth. Truth is one meaning of Satya as we discussed last week. But our Upanishads, our rishis want us to go deep, to go to the Paramamukya Vritti, go to the etymology of the words and grasp and understand the meanings. After all, we have done this a million times, right? The meaning of, what is the meaning of Upanishads? Chadayanti iti chandamsi. Yeah, so Vedas means Chadayanti iti chandamsi. We have to break open and understand what the meanings of the Vedas. If we don't do that, it is our problem because we have done disservice to the rishis who have intuited these great verses. And remember, the language of the Upanishads is very different from the current prevailing Sanskrit, the Vyakarana, and the Nirukta, and everything that is available post Paninian era. Okay? Whereas the Upanishads belong to a very ancient time. These are archaic Sanskrit. Okay? And many of the words used in Vedic Sanskrit are not available in the modern Sanskrit. So we need to be mindful of that, and also the meanings of the words in Vedic Sanskrit is different in many occasions, different from what we use in modern Devanagari or Sanskrit. So we need to be mindful of all these, and that is why it becomes very important to do the Upanishad Chintana with a Guru Mukha. Have a Guru and then do this properly using a Bhashya and then understand the Upanishads. Yeah. Not some English transliterations that is available out there. We need to sit with our Gurus and understand it. That is the only way of understanding the Upanishads. So the word Satya has got such a profound meaning. What I thought was I could start off with again, kind of thinking about the Satya and also introduce some new concepts of Satya. which many of us may not have been aware of before. And I hope with this session, we have an overarching view of Satyam, so that next time when we go somewhere and we hear somebody saying Satya, then we know what it means. When you go to Satya Narayana Puja, that's Satya, then you will know what is the real meaning of Satya. Satya Narayana means true Narayana. It does not mean true Narayana. It is an entirely different etymology as to why there is Satya and why there is Narayana. Okay, so hopefully we will understand that. So this Mundaka states what in this verse? Satyena labhyaha. So it started off with Satya. And this Satya is all pervasive in the Upanishads. We have seen that in Taittiriya Upanishad, it will say Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is the definition of Brahman. In Isha Upanishad, our Swayambhuva Manu is looking at the sun and says, "Oh, you Hiranmayena Patrena, go away. I want to see that Satya who is inside you." Yeah, Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Abhihita Mukam. You are covering this Satya who is inside you. Please move away. Please move away. I want to see that Narayana, that Surya Narayana inside. Okay. And then we understood that in Chandogya Upanishad, the word Satya, there is a etymology that is given in Chandogya Upanishad itself. So if folks have not looked at Chandogya Upanishad, it's unfortunate before coming into conclusion that Satya means just the truth. Tani hava yetani trini aksharani. Chandogya Upanishad says Satyam has three words, three aksharas. Sat, ti, yam, iti. Tadyat sad amridam. Yati tan martyam. Ata yad yam teno ube echati. Okay. Sat liberated, ti unliberated, yam the regulator of both. So that is one meaning of Satyam that we have understood. And in the same Chandogya Upanishad in chapter 6, again it celebrates Saya Esha Anima Etadatmyam Idang Sarvam Tat Satyam. You, the all pervasive, you are Satya. Yeah. So, if you look at Vishnu Sahasranama again, Satya is the name of Vishnu. And last week we also understood this is an important idea. I want you to, I've just put it in a box there so that we understand this. That we define Brahman as Sat Chit Anandam. That being who has infinite knowledge and infinite bliss. Jnananandamaya is the classic definition of Brahman, Sat Chit Ananda. And that exactly is the meaning of Sat, Ti and Yam. Sat means Nirdushta, without defects. It also means the highest. Ti, Tati, Ananda. Ya, Yati, to go to know Jnana. Satyam, Sat Chit Anandam. So please remember this idea for the next slide because it becomes really beautiful. It's really, really interesting how you can link up the Upanishads and read the Bhagavatam properly for God's sake rather than doing some transliterations. Yeah. So Satchit Anandam is Satyam. We also understand that Satyam is the definition of Brahman because our Veda Vyasa said in the second sutra, Janmadhyasya Yataha. He who is the creator, etc. of the universe. What is that? Eightfold dispensations of the universe of matter and souls. Utpatti, Sthiti, Samhara, Niyatir, Jnanam, Avruttihi, Bandha, Moksha, cha Purushat, Yasmat, Sa, Harire, Karat. Some people think that God only does 3 activities. Some folks, only 4 activities. No, Skanda Purana says 8. And then our Satya says 8. When I say Om, Om has got 8 components. Again, that 8 denotes the eightfold cosmic dispensation of Brahman. Okay, so there are deeper layers to this. Yeah. So now here, even if you take, as I said, Vishnu Sahasranama, Satya is the name. Then I want to focus on Bhagavatam. We very rarely go to Bhagavatam and read it, but as we know, Bhagavatam is an exposition of Brahma Sutras. Yeah. So Bhagavatam, the very first verse of Bhagavatam, what does it say? Dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi. I bow to thee, the Satya. Okay, Veda Vyasa, he is bowing to himself. He is Narayana's avatar and he says, this Satyam, I bow to him. Okay. So the same Srimad Bhagavatam, and I just want to spend 5 minutes or more talking about this Satya, where it is categorically established. The Satya means Narayana. Satya means Paramatma. Satya means not just the truth. Yeah. So, who wants to tell us what is Garbhastuti of Srimad Bhagavatam? Anybody wants to share their ideas about the Dashama Skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam? Something called Garbhastuti. Anybody wants to share their ideas? Has anybody heard of Garbhastuti? Okay, no problem. So, Garbhastuti, check it out in Dashama Skanda, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. This is a very, very interesting situation where Krishna is inside the womb of Devaki, and he has still not come out for the external world. Yeah, to act out his avatara, to act out why he has come down here. Okay, so Krishna is still in the womb of Devaki. Okay? When he is still in the womb of Devaki, some folks and some ignorant people think that Krishna takes a material form and then comes into the womb, and like you and me, he takes a birth. Okay, so that is a fundamental mistake. If anybody says when Krishna takes avatara, he takes a form, he takes a human form, there itself he falls down. Okay, and in Gita itself, Krishna has said, Janma karma cha me divyam. My incarnation, my birth and all is very, very divyam. It's very non-material. Krishna has said. But still, at least I have heard folks, and Narayana comes down in the human form as Krishna. Okay, that's a huge problem. Our Garbhastuti answers this very, very beautifully. So the Garbhastuti is when Krishna is in the womb of Devaki, Chaturmukha Brahma and Shiva and the other Devatas, but primarily it is the Chaturmukha Brahma and the Shiva who are doing a stuti on this Krishna who is inside the womb of Devaki. Okay. A quick quiz here. Who is the Devaki is the avatar of which entity? Who wants to take this answer? Anybody wants to? It's a quick quiz. Who wants to tell us who is Vasudeva and who is Devaki? And what is their why have they come down as Vasudeva and Devaki, and what are they originally? So who wants to take this? Anybody wants to answer this question? Quick quiz. Okay, no worries. So the questions are going to come through. Keep your, sorry, Panagashi?
Aditi.
Aditi, excellent answer, Panagashi. Thank you very much. Who is Vasudeva?
Kashyapa.
Very good, Panagashi. Yes, you got it right. Yeah. So that is it is Kashyapa and Aditi who are actually Vasudeva and Devaki. Okay. So to understand all this, you have to go to Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya of Srimad Acharya. Otherwise, in my view, reading Mahabharata is a waste of time unless we use the Tatparya Nirnaya and understand what is actually going on here. So Kashyapa and Aditi, they actually request Krishna, you please take birth in me and do your avatara stuff. And Krishna, Narayana obliges and comes into them. That is the background to that. So anyway, that's a slight distraction. So when Krishna is in the womb of Devaki, Chaturmukha Brahma and Shiva, simultaneously they do a stuti. That is called Garbhastuti, celebrating Krishna, who he is and what actually he is. Okay. So this Garbhastuti, I just want to spend 5-10 minutes because that actually categorically tells us who the Satya is. Very beautifully in the Bhagavatam. So in Garbhastuti, Chaturmukha Brahma and Shiva, they are praising this Krishna who is inside the womb of Devaki. Satyavratam, Satyaparam, Trisatyam, Satyasya Yonim, Nihitam cha Satye, Satyasya Satyam, Uta, Satyanetram, Satyatmakam, Tvam Sharanam Prapannaha. That is the very first verse in that Garbhastuti. Okay. So it's beautiful because there, Chaturmukha and Shiva, Chaturmukha in the Vedic pantheon is rank number 3. What is Shiva? What is Shiva's Vedic pantheon? What is his Vedic rank? Who wants to quickly tell us what is Shiva's Vedic rank?
5.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So 5. So 3 and 5 together, they are praising number 1. Okay. And in this particular verse, Satya comes 9 times. They are doing a devotional service Chaturmukha and Shiva are doing a devotional service to Krishna who is inside the womb of Devaki, and they are using the word Satya to Krishna 9 times. What is the significance of 9, number 9 in Vedic philosophy? Quick answer. Who is going to tell us what is the significance of number 9? Think about Navavida Bhakti. Okay. Tvam Sharanam Prapannaha. So, here 9 times they are using Satya to denote Krishna. Satyavratam. They say, Krishna, you are Satyavratam. Satyavratam. So that is why you have to understand what that Satya means. As I told you in that box, Sat Chit Anandam is Satyam. Yeah. This Brahman, this Vishnu, this Narayana, this Krishna who is inside the womb is celebrated as Satyavratam. You are always Jnanananda Swarupa. There was never a point you were not Jnanananda Swarupa. You are always Jnanananda Swarupa. And that Jnanananda Swarupa is intrinsic to you. And that has no origination. Om Asambhavastu Sato Anupapattehe. Vedanta Sutra talks about this. Asambhavastu Sato Anupapattehe. Sat. Yeah. Satyavratam. So he celebrated a Satyavratam. Such an Acharya in Bhagavata Tatparya Nirnaya, Srimad Acharya gives a beautiful explanation of this. Sat Shabda Uttamam Bhuyat Anandam Ti iti vai Vadet Yeti Jnanam Samuddishtam Purnananda Purnananda Uta Shistataha Shatya Shabdoditaha Tadrug Rupam Nityam Yato Harehe Satya Vratastato Vishnuhu. That is the how Acharya decides and gives us the commentary on this. Satya Vratam. He is Jnanananda Swarupa. The next one, then Chaturmukha and Shiva says, you are Satya Param. And that is this is a new etymology for us. We didn't do that last week, but this is very, very interesting. Satya Param. Satyam Param. So that is one way of looking at this. Okay, this is a new etymology for today's session of Chintana of what Satyam is. Satyam can be Sat, Ti and Yam, but it can also be Sat, Tyam. Tyam and Sat are very, very interesting. Sat is that which is manifested. Tyam is that which is beyond, that which is apart from that which is manifested. So what that means is if you look at the Panchabhutas, the ones that are manifested are earth, water and fire which we can see. Whereas the air and space is something that we cannot see. That is the unmanifested. So the unmanifested is called Tyam and the manifested is called Sat. These are the Panchabhutas, material things. And our Chaturmukha says, you are Satya Param. You are beyond Sat and Tyam. You are beyond matter. You are non-material. And you are non-material and not surprisingly, you are Jnananandamaya. Okay, so we need to link this with Taittiriya Upanishad, where it talks about the creatorship of Paramatma, right? Sa tapastaptva idam sarvam asrujata yadidam kincha tat shrishva tadeva anupravishata tad anupravishya Satcha Tyatcha Abhavat. Okay, look at this. Watch those words very carefully of Taittiriya. Satcha Tyatcha. What is Sat? What is Tyat? There are so many meanings, but one meaning is this. Sat and Tyam is Panchabhutas, and he is beyond matter. Trisatyam. What is the Trisatyam? Krishna, you are Trisatyam. He is the highest purport of the Trayi. Trayi is what Vedas. And the primary purport, that is a Paramamukhi Vritti of the Vedas is Krishna or Vishnu or Narayana. Trisatyam. Satyasya yonim, you are the cause of the real universe. Janmadhyasya yataha. Nihichanta satye, this is important. Nihitam cha satye, the fifth satya that is coming in Garbhastuti. Nihitam cha satye. You are inside the real universe, correct. But Satya is also a name for Mukhya Prana or Vayu. Okay, that is a name of Mukhya Prana. Satya is also a name of Mukhya Prana in the Upanishad. Look at our Hamsa Gayatri of Katha Upanishad. Hamsaha Suchishat. Okay, so the Suchi means the pure. Shad means Siddhati. He who is inside this Suchi or the pure, he is called Hamsaha, who is the Hamsa Namaka Paramatma. This Hamsa, you are inside Suchi. That is the highest form of worship. Okay. For folks who read the Vedas and the Upanishads with full Anusandana, this is the meaning. Hamsaha Suchishad. The first form of worship for us is that we worship that this Hamsa Namaka Paramatma is inside Mukhya Prana. Hamsaha Suchishad. And that is why here in Bhagavata it says, Nihitam cha Satye. You are inside that Mukhya Prana. Satyasya Satyam Uta. Okay. So you are inside this real universe. Satya Netram. You are the Neta, you are the Niyamaka, you bind the Jivas to Samsara, of course. Netra also means a rope, but you are the Niyamaka. Satya Atmakam, you are my master, you are the Swami, you are the destroyer. Atma has Atti, Atrutvad Atmaha, Atrutvacha, Tad Adanat, Satyatma cha Uchyate Vibhuhu, Srimad Acharya's Bhashya there. Beautiful, yeah. So, and Chaturmukha and Shiva finally says, Tvam Sharanam Prapannaha. We bow to thee. 9 times Satya is used to adore and worship Krishna when he is in the womb of Devaki. Okay. So there can be no doubt. I don't think any of us in this satsang will ever have any doubt who the Satya is. Satya is Paramatma himself. Yeah. So this is the Prasthana Trayi in action. In our satsang, we should never be. This is what the Vedic study is, right? Prasthana Traya. Sutra Prasthana, Upanishad Prasthana, Gita Prasthana. These are the 3 things we use. Look at Gita. Satyam is used in 5 places in the Gita. Check it out. I've given you the reference. The word Sat is used in 5 places in Gita. Upanishads, we have done empty number of Upanishads that talk about Satya to talk about Brahman. If you go to Brahma Sutras, there is an Adhikaranam called Sat Adhikaranam, Sadadhikaranam. 1:3:13. Ikshati karma vyapadeshat. Sadeva somya idamagra asid ekameva advityam. Sanmulaha somya imaha sarvaha prajaha sada ayatanaha satpratishtaha. Evameva kalu somya imaha sarvaha prajaha sat agamya naviduhu sat agacchamaiti. The iha vyagrova simhova. And as you know, in chapter 6 it goes. And the Vishaya Vakya that Veda Vyasa takes to settle what that Sat actually is, Sadadhikaranam. Satyam equals Vishnu, equals Krishna, and of course the infinite names of Brahman. Okay. So this Satyam is essential for that Aparoksha Jnana. So that is where we are, right? We need to know we are in that section in that Khanda of the Mundaka Upanishad where we are talking so much about the Aparoksha Jnana, the Bimba Shakshatkara, the seeing our Paramatma who's inside us as our Antaryaman. And that is possible only if we have Satyena Labhyaha. We need his divine grace. We have done that last week. And that divine grace can be achieved only through a process. And Angirasa gives 3 primary process. Tapasa, Samyak Jnana, and Brahmacharya. Tapas we understood as austerity and penance. Samyak Jnana, true knowledge. How do we attain true knowledge? Brahmacharya. With no distraction, studying of the Vedas, to see Brahman in the Vedas, not something else. That is the only route to getting our Aparoksha Jnana is what Angirasa is reminding us by saying Satyena Labhyaha. Then we also understood that yes, you to get Satya's grace, you need to be truthful to yourself. Yeah. So in that sense, yes, it makes sense of Satyena Labhyaha. Truthfulness is essential. Okay. Samyak Jnanena, Brahmacharyena Nityam. So once you do that, what will you happen? You will see this Aparoksha, you will see this Paramatma inside you. Who is he described as? Antaha Sharire. We looked at Sharira. Sharira means body. So there is the gross body for the Jivas. For you and me, our body is the Sharira. Whereas for the Antaryamin, the Jiva itself is his Sharira. Okay, so you have to understand it in two levels. So Antaha Sharire. And this Antaha Sharira, that Antaratma who is inside the Jivas, he celebrated as Jyotirmayohi Shubhraha. So this is the new word for today. Jyotirmayohi Shubhraha. And this is not new to us, right? In this satsang, because the Jyotirmaya, Maya means what? Mayat Pratyaya. Mayat Pratyaya has got three meanings. Never forget, wherever Maya comes, think about Prachurya, Tadatmya, Vikara. Prachurya means abundance. Tadatmya means its Swarupa. Vikara means transformation. So we need to take it in context. Some folks don't, and they kind of get their own meanings. We have to be careful because these are all the Tatparya lingas and etymology and etc. that we need to use. So here, he is Jyotirmaya. Jyotirmaya means what? Jnanamaya. Prachurya and Tadatmya. It is his Swarupa itself is Jnanamaya, and he is infinitely knowledgeable. Sarvajnaha. Okay. So even Mundaka Upanishad, a few verses we'll see. Hiranmaye pare koshe virajam brahma nishkalam yat shubram jyotisham jyotihi. That is the next verse that is going to come. Gita 13:18. Jyotisham api tat jyotihi. So they all celebrate the same stuff. And of course, we know about this sun and how the sun cannot light it and so on. Why? Because the light that is being discussed here is not the material light or the photons. It is non-material. That light signifies knowledge, and he is the abode of infinite knowledge. God is light, says John in the New Testament. Very interesting. God is light. In him, there is no darkness at all, says the Old Testament. Why? Because our Upanishads have classically defined that he is Jyotisham Jyoti. He is Jyotirmayohi Shubhraha. Shubhraha, pure. Okay? Shukram, Shubhram, all they means pure. Pure light. Pure light means what? No ignorance at all, full of knowledge. So not surprisingly, the Catholic philosophers also capture those ideas. God is light. In him there is no darkness at all. Antaha Sharire Jyotirmayohi Shubhraha. Okay, so I hope you understand the Samanvaya. The Samanvaya sometimes is not only within the Vedas, and if we look at it carefully, there can be Samanvaya in other philosophies, and that is also becomes, as you know, is Paravidya. Who sees this? Who sees this Jyotirmayohi Shubhraha? Who sees this Jyotirmaya? Yam Pashyanti Yatayaha Kshinadoshaha, not the fake gurus. Again, very clear. We have to go to our acharyas. We have to go to our rishis. These are the yatis, yeah, not the fake gurus of modern times. Yeah, that is my view, and I'll stick to my own view here. So, yam pashyanti yatayaha. Who are these yatis? Those who undertake immense effort, the striver, the ascetic, a devotee, one who has restrained his passions and abandoned the world. These are the true yatis. Okay? These guys are not in TVs or giving programs or having lots of followers in the virtual world. These are guys who are somewhere in as Krishna has said, they are somewhere in seclusion and striving for perfection. These are the yatis. Yeah. And Angirasa is talking about those folks, yeah, not who have made our Sanatana Dharma a business in the 21st century. Yeah. Antaha Sharire Jyotirmayohi Shubhraha Yam Pashyanti Yatayaha. Who are these yatis? Kshina Doshaha. Okay. They are free from defects and drawbacks. These are the guys who will see him. Okay, is what Angirasa very, very, very carefully is giving us this view. Okay. So I hope this particular verse opens up such deep philosophical contemplation and upasana. It's worth memorizing and thinking about it. Satyena labhyaha tapasahi esha atma samyak jnanena brahmacharyena nityam antah sharire jyotirmayo hi shubbraha yam pashyanti yatayaha kshina doshaha. Okay. So the key concept there is Satyam means Paramatma. Yeah, I just need to remind myself Satyam means Paramatma. Satyam means Paramatma, Krishna, Vishnu, Brahman. That is Satyam, not just the truth. Whatever the truth for modern day living is. Okay. Satyena labhyaha is Angirasa has stressed it. But in the modern world, when you and me, after this satsang, tomorrow morning, when we go to our work, when we have to work interact in the workspace and elsewhere, what do we see, whether we like it or not? There is some form of dishonesty everywhere. Okay, you will see that. You will perceive, maybe we are dishonest in our lives. We may not show it outside, but inside, that silent witness is checking, are we honest or are we dishonest? We are also dishonest. We are not perfect individuals. We have to accept that. This corruption is everywhere. And if you look at this, one who deceives appears to be successful. And many of us will be aware in Mahabharata, there is this discussion where, Draupadi and others are having this discussion. Look at this Duryodhana. This fellow is full of deceit. Yet he is the king. He is the princess. He is having glorious life. We can find empty number of examples in our own modern lives. So you see these fellows who are manipulating the systems with dishonesty and are able to move forwards, so-called move forwards in their lives. We see them that they appear to be successful. One who lies seems to make more progress. They're able to elbow the others and move forwards. Yeah. Thank you, Anand Kulkarni. Satyam is mentioned 3 times in Vishnu Sahasranama. Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah. So, one who lies seems to be more progressive. Dishonest folks appear to be very successful. Yeah, let's not go too far away. We just need to go look at our own, people in public life. Yeah, many folks in public life, wherever they may be, dishonest folks appear to be very successful. Truth is rarely respected, often denied, concealed, or distorted. Okay, this is the situation. And you will be surprised to know it is not just a situation now. Even in the Vedic times, this was there. It's not a new event that's happened. It's always been there. Okay. So when you take this view of Satyena labhyaha, truthfulness is essential, you can perhaps maybe bring these ideas here and think about, but how do I, Satyena labhyaha, I have to follow the path of truthfulness, but there is so many things around me and I myself is dishonest. How is this all going to be possible? Okay. Comes the next verse, which is again a very, very popular verse, and it is a beautiful verse. Satyameva jayati nanrutam satyena panta vitato devayanaha yena akramanti rishayo hi aptakamaha yatra tat satyasya paramam nidanam. That is why understanding that Satya becomes very, 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 very important of who that Satya is to understand this verse. So immediately Angirasa, expecting this question from Shuanaka, gives an answer. Satyameva jayati na anrutam. Satyena panta vitato devayanaha. Let's see if we can at least do some justice to the first half of this verse. So here you will see 2 interesting words, very popular words of the Vedas. Satyam and Rutam. Satyam Anrutam. So here it is Anrutam. Na Anrutam. So Anrutam is the opposite of Ruta. So what we need to do here is think about all this. What is Satya? What is Asatya? What is Ruta? What is Anruta of the Vedas? And then try and understand this. Now here, before going into the details, I also need to remind you. So in the Indian system, in the public life, if you go to any office, you will see this Satyameva Jayate. There is even a TV program, I believe, I've not seen it, but I know there was a TV program a few years ago talking about Satyameva Jayate. So our gurus make a joke here that folks in public life can't even get the Upanishads right. Satyameva Jayati is the Upanishad of Mundaka Upanishad. that somehow has transformed into Satyameva Jayate. Okay, so that's a minor point. Okay? But let us come to the Upanishad. Satya, Asatya, Ruta, and Anruta. So before I move to the next slide to think about this, just want us to kind of open up and have a discussion about what is our understanding of what is Ruta and what is Anruta. So who wants to share those ideas of what is Ruta and Anruta of the Vedas? You will see it in various mantras, say in Rig Veda and other places. Any ideas there? Any thoughts? Okay, no worries. So if
Ruta,
Anand,
Rutam.
okay, we'll go to Anand and come to Deval. Thanks, Anand.
Rutam is like devas or devatas, and rutams are asuras.
Thank you, Anand. Excellent. Yeah, Devalji.
I thought Rutam was the order in which the creation comes or is done, which is eternal.
Yeah, thank you, Devalji. Yeah, interesting ideas. Anybody else? Any other views on Ruta and Anruta? Okay.
I think here you have given Satyam, they have given Satyameva Jayati, Na Anritam. That means it must be opposite of Satya anyway. Asatya and Anrita must be same.
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Shilaji. Excellent observation. Yeah, so we'll come to that. Anybody else? Okay, fantastic. Thanks for those initial discussions about Ruta, Anruta, and Satya. So it's always helpful to understand what it means to then go back and try and evaluate what is it that Angirasa is teaching us or teaching to Shuanaka when he says Satyameva Jayati na Anrutam. Okay, so that is what we need to discuss. First slide, Satya, Asatya, which we know, Satya, Asatya. And similarly, you have Ruta and Anruta. Okay, so we need to think about Ruta a bit more. Yeah, Ruta is a complicated word of Sanskrit. In Rig Veda, Ruta appears 450 times in the Rig Veda. Okay, incredible. 450 times the word Ruta comes. It is not that I have individually searched for that and come up with 450. I have a PhD thesis with me in my small little library at home, a PhD thesis by a German scholar talking about Ruta. His PhD thesis was Ruta of the Rig Veda, okay, submitted to one of the German universities, and I happened to somehow get the PDF downloaded. Okay, look at this. The whole world wants to look at all this, want to explore Ruta and so on, and yet we are not thinking about all this in mainstream Sanatana Dharma, Ruta. Okay. Ruta. Okay. So in Tattvodyota, one of the works of Srimad Acharya, he gives us an explanation of what Ruta means. And there are various meanings of Rutam. Okay. Ruta comes from Ru. Yeah. Ru gatau iti dhatostu purva gatavat sada stither. Yeah. Brahmar uta rutam parinamataha. Yeah. So, stiter brahma tam ityuktam anrutam parinamataha. So, anrutam parinamataha. This rita comes from rugataviti dhatostu. Okay, so what is that? So Devalji was giving us an idea there. Rita is the state of cosmic flow. Rugatau. Okay? It is a state of cosmic flow. Rigveda will say, Brahmaiva Rutam, Anyad Anrutam. So, Purvavagatavat Sada, which means it is changeless. So, the meaning of Ruta primarily is Rugata Viti Dhatostu Purva Avagatavat Sada. Purva Avagatavat Sada means changeless. Anything that is changeless is called Rita in Vedic. We talk about ancient Vedic Sanskrit, yeah, not the modern ones. Changeless. And there are lots of entities in our system, in the Vedic philosophy, that are rutas or changeless. And Rig Veda gives a definition: Brahmaiva Ritam, Anyad Anritam. So Brahmaiva Ritam, think about that Brahma. And we know from all the satsangs that we have done, Brahma has got various meanings. Okay? Brahma, of course, means Brahman, which is the Paramatma. Brahma can also mean Mula Prakriti or Chetana Prakriti, Shri Tattva. Brahma can also mean Veda. Brahma can also mean Mukta Jivas. Okay, so there are so many meanings. So all these guys are changeless. Okay, if you understand that, then you will understand the Rig Veda verse. Brahmaiva Ritam Anyad Anritam. Brahman, Mula Prakriti, Veda, Mukti Jivas, they are all changeless. So they are called Rita. Okay. Some folks think Ritam means real. Anritam means mithya. It is their problem. Our Acharya has given us a clear definition in Tattvodyotaha. What does that Ritam mean? Okay. It doesn't mean Rita means real. Anrita means mithya. No. Rita means changeless. Anritam means what? Anritam parinamataha. Parinama means changes. Anritam is that which changes. Just because it changes doesn't make it an illusion or a mithya. Okay? It may have a non-eternal existence and it changes, but it is real nevertheless. Okay? These are all key ideas of philosophy, but for those interested can explore this further. The other meaning of Ritam is Ritam Yathartha Jnanam. Truth is also called Ritam. Okay? The practical application of the truth is called Satyam. Okay? But we also know that Satyam also means Vishnu. We have done a number of times. So as Anandji was mentioning, Satyam means Devas. And who is the highest among Devas? Vishnu. All others are Devatas. Okay? In the highest sense, Vishnu, who is called Satya, is called Ritam. Okay? He always got Yathartha Jnanam. His knowledge is always true and infinite and instantaneous of everything in the past, present, and future. Okay? Think about this. Ritam, Satyam. Then you have Anritam. Anritam. So that's fine. If Ritam is Satyam, Anritam will be opposite of Satyam, as Sheilaji was mentioning. So Anritam can mean falsehood. Anritam can also mean things that are constantly changing. Anritam parimanataha. And if Ritam is Devas, Anritam is Asuras, as Anandji was mentioning. Okay? So that is how the ideas evolved about Satyam, Ritam, and Anritam. Okay? So now I hope you will get an idea as to where Angirasa is taking us, because he's talking about the Satya as Vishnu and that Satya is Rita. And now he's saying you may have lots of distraction made in the modern world that blocks you from your salvation, blocks you from your progression. There may be all sorts of Anrutas around you, including falsehood, including asuras. There are a lot of asuras in this world, okay, without taking any names. The place is full of asuras. 4:2:1 is the description in our scriptures. For one sattvika jivas, there are 4 tamasika jivas. 1:4 is what our odds are against. All those fellows are called anrutas or asuras or demons. Okay? And in our Puranas, Mahabharata, you will have endless number of asuras or demons that are being described. So now that will give you the idea as to where are we heading at when we say Satyameva Jayati na Anrutam. For that you have to go, you even have to go to Samudra Matana to understand this. So who is going to tell us what is this Samudra Matana that happened between the Suras and the Asuras? That is the Devatas and the demons. So who is going to tell us about a brief insight about Samudra Matana? Any takers for Samudra Matana? Anyway, okay, no worries. So you will go and explore this. Maybe next time when we do this, we talk about Anand. You go for it, Anand. Thank you.
It's the churning of the ocean in the quest of Amruta, when both Devas and Asuras decided that they should undertake this big procedure, and they started to churn the ocean. They needed something to churn, and they bought the Meru Parvata. And the Meru Parvata was always collapsing, and they needed someone to hold it stable. Then comes Lord, who acts as Kurma and stabilize the Meru Parvata, and then the churning happens. And all sorts of things come, and finally comes the Amrita.
Yeah, fantastic. Yes, Anandji, beautiful. Thank you very much. So I just wanted all of us to think about this. When we read all these Puranas and other stories, they cannot just be stories because they are telling us something about what the Vedas are telling us. What is it? Satyameva jayati nanrutam. Put that Satya there. Satya is what? Satya is Satyanamaka Paramatma Vishnu, or any followers of Vishnu or Paramatma are also Satyas. Who are they? Devatas. The ones that are against him, the ones that do dvesha to him, the ones that say he doesn't exist, he doesn't have any qualities, or he has limited number of qualities, he and his qualities are different, or I need to defeat this Satya, all those folks that we have in various strands everywhere, they are all grouped as Asuras. This battle between the Suras and Asuras is described so much in our Puranas and our Itihasas. Yeah. So think about this one, another one here. Arjuna and Duryodhana, they meet Krishna before the war. So who is going to explain to us that scene as to what is happening and what did they ask for and what did they get? So who wants to tell about this? Duryodhana and Arjuna who go to meet Krishna. So who is going to think about that and tell us that story? Anandji, go for it again.
It's when the Mahabharata, the Kurukshetra war was decided, both the Pandavas and Kauravas wanted to see what they could get from Lord Krishna. So while Krishna was sleeping on the bed, they approach him. Duryodhana comes and sits at the head end because he thinks he's an important person. And Arjuna stands at the foot end of the bed. And then when Krishna wakes up, then they reveal as to what is expected of Krishna. And Krishna says, I am on one side and all my battalion is on the other side. What do you want to take? And foolishly, Duryodhana takes everything else other than Lord Krishna, whereas Arjuna says, I want you, Rishikesh. And that's how the story progresses.
Beautiful, Anandji. Thank you so much for giving us that insight. So yeah, look at that Arjuna, Duryodhana. That itihasa is Satyameva Jayati na Anrutam. If you side with Satya, if you side with Paramatma, you will be victorious in one sense. Okay, so that is what happened in Mahabharata. So Mahabharata essentially is the practical application of the Vedic philosophy. It is not a story. Yeah, folks who think it is a story, they are doomed. This is a philosophical text which is giving an explanation of what's happening in the Vedas. Then, of course, you have Shishupala Dantavakra, you have Ravana Kumbhakarna, you have Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. So these are all the avatars, right? Krishna, Rama, Narasimha, and Varaha. Or the other around Varaha, Narasimha, Rama, and Krishna. So these asuras are also destroyed. Look at verse 4.8. So who wants to recite Gita 4.8? Very popular verse. So we'll get one of us to recite 4.8. I'll pick up somebody. Panagashri, do you want to recite 4.8 for us, please? Okay. Yeah, Pratibha ji, go for it. Yeah, thanks.
परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
Yeah, thank you, Pratibha ji. So 4.8 also gives you the same ideas. Yeah, I come down to save these Satvika Jivas, establish Dharma. Dharma there means Vishnu. Vishnu's name is Dharma and Vishnu Sahasranama. Yeah, Jayati, victorious, to save and be victorious. I come again and again. So when I say Satyameva Jayati na Anrutam means na Anrutam, the Asuras never win. The Suras, the ones that follow the Satya, always win. Okay? So these Asuras, who are these Asuras? And again, this is important of actually studying the Mahabharata using the Tatparya Nirnaya and understand who are these characters. Who is Duryodhana? Who is Dushashana? Who is Vikarna? Who is Chitrasena? Who is Jarasandha? And who is all the other, brothers of Duryodhana? They are all Asuras who come down. Kali, Kalanemi, Viprachitti, Madhu, Kaitaba. They are all these Asuras who are described in Mahabharata. So who is going to tell us who Kali is of Mahabharata? Quick answer.
Duryodhana.
Duryodhana, beautiful. Kalanemi, who is Kalanemi of Mahabharata?
Dushasana.
Kamsa. Viprachitti, who is Viprachitti? Jarasandha. So these are all characters who come in Mahabharata. There are actually the asuras that are described and who needs to be tracked back all the way to Samudra Mathana. In fact, the very again, if you read the Tatparya and Mahabharata, you'll understand. It will be very beautiful background that is given when all these asuras and asuras had a fight, and then these fellows that come down as Duryodhana, Dushoshana, Vikarana, and so on, and then Chaturmukha and goes to Narayana and says, "Do something, mate, save the world." And then Krishna says, okay, and Narayana says, okay, I'll take an avatara, but hey, Sesha, do you want to go first? And the Sesha goes first, the seventh thing that appears in Devaki, then goes into Rohini, and then Balarama is born. And then eighth, Krishna comes down. So that is how the scene is set. All the Abhimani Devatas have descended, and then Krishna makes a grand appearance. And when he is in the womb, Chaturmukha and Shiva, they celebrate him as Satya. And then they adore him. That is the Garbhastuti. Yeah, so I hope you find all these links interesting. So, if you look at the philosophy of Mahabharata, I just wanted to spend 5 times, and I've just put all this for our benefit. Vishnu, Krishna, and Vedavyasa of Mahabharata. Lakshmi, Durga, Rukmini, and Satyabhama. They are the avatars of Lakshmi that come down. Okay, period. That's it. When Vishnu descends, his consort comes down. 3 forms: Durga, Rukmini, Satyabhama, Shri Bhu Durga. Finish. Nobody else. No matter what others want to claim, this is the Vedic view. Okay? Durga, Rukmini, and Satyabhama turn up. Vayu is Bhima, Bharati is Draupadi, Sesha is Balarama, Yama is Yudhishthira, Varuna, interesting, Shantanu, Ashwini twins are Nakula, Sahadeva, and as Panagashri so rightly mentioned, Kashyapa is Vasudeva, Aditi Devi is Devaki, Surabhi Devi is Rohini. So these are all Kashyapa's wives, right? Kashyapa had lots of wives. So Aditi, Surabhi, etc. So they all appear in Mahabharata if you chase their characters. Drona Vasu is Nandagopa. Dhara Devi is Yashoda, where Krishna then moves from here to there. Kali, Duryodhana, Kalanemi, Kamsa, Viprachitta, Jarasandha. Now look at also there is an interesting view. So these are all the asuras who are on the bad fellow side. Look at our Ashwatthama and Karna. Ashwatthama is Rudra. He also sides, and this is he goes against Krishna. That is it's entirely a different philosophical reasons. That's for another day. Surya, number 12, Karna. Brihaspatiachar, Dronacharya. Dyu Vasu, Bhishma. So these guys also go against Krishna and they are defeated in Mahabharata. So the view there is, if you side with Satyam, like these fellows, you are victorious. If you side going against Satyam, you are doomed to fail. That is the overarching philosophy of Mahabharata. Okay? No matter what the plots and subplots are, if we can understand all the avatars of Mahabharata, then we can understand the philosophy of the Mahabharata rather than just seeing it as a very deep, very interesting plots and stories. Okay. So I hope we have another 7 minutes, and that makes it very clear that when we say Satyena Satyameva Jayati na Anrutam, this is described in Mahabharata and the various Puranas. All the avatars of Vishnu will be about Satyameva Jayati na Anrutam. Okay. Satyena Pantaha Vitato Devayanaha. What is the victory for the souls? It's all good saying Jayati, victorious. What is that victory? What is the victory of souls? So who wants to tell us what is the ultimate victory of souls? Anand.
Moksha, liberation, reaching the abode of Lord.
Thank you, Anandji. Yes, perfect answer. That is the victory, not getting some, I don't know, huge properties, wealth, name, fame. Not that Shodasha Kala. The Shodasha Kala is not going to work. That is not our victory. We have to go beyond and become the Nishkala itself. That is our victory. That is the liberation. That is the victory. Thank you, Anandji. Fantastic. That is what the Upanishad is saying. Satyameva Jayati na Anrutam. If you follow the path of Satya, He will ensure that with his grace, you will follow a path that will take you to liberation. So that is what the next line is, which is beautiful. Let's see if you have 5 to 7 minutes to at least capture some ideas. Satyena pantaha vitato devayanaha. Every word there is beautiful. Panta means path. Okay? Devayana, one of the routes. So what are the two routes in the journey of souls? Who wants to answer us? Quick answer. Two routes that we are supposed to take. Described in Gita.
Shreyas and prayers, and Pravritti Marga and Nivritti Marga, both I think same.
Yeah, that is for our progression. Yeah, Anand.
Devayana and Pitruyana, or Uttarayana or Dakshinayana.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else? Did we have somebody else?
Gnana Marga and Karma Marga, as told in Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, okay. So Jnana Marga and Karma Marga eventually will have to take us to an ultimate path where we are either liberated or we come back in samsara, right? So all answers are interesting, but ultimately it is what as Anandji was mentioning, Devayana and Pitruyana, that is described in the Vedas, the journey of souls. We may do Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and so on, and then ultimately what should happen to us? We will have only two routes. One is Devayana, which is towards liberation, or Pitruyana, where we circle back into samsara. Those are the two routes that have been described in the Vedic scriptures. And as Sheilaji said, Shreyas and prayers. If we follow the path of Shreyas, then eventually, of course, we may head into the Devayana path. If you follow the prayers, initially it may sound very nice, but ultimately it is a Pitruyana, go round and round in circles. So thank you very much. So all those ideas are fine. So this is the journey of souls, isn't it? We go to the basics again to understand that. So we come into existence from Brahman's womb, and then we go into eternal cycles. We acquire karmic imprints, and with this karmic imprints, currently we are in this Prithvi or Mrityu Loka, and then if we have some good karmic imprints, we may go up to Swarga Loka, or if we do some bad things, we may go to Naraka Loka. We go round and round in circles. Okay? This is the usual route for most of us. Okay. But there is a slightly different view as well. So if you think about our Katha Upanishad, what happens? Yama is sitting there, right, with Chitragupta and everybody else. So we as souls, we go to Yama first. And Chitragupta has made an account of all the bad things and good things we have done. So Yama is saying, okay, you guys, you go to this Swarga Loka, go to Chandra Loka and spend some good time, and then again go down in samsara. Some folks, you go to Kumbi Paka, we will burn you, we will do you this and that, we'll punish you. Then after that, you may go into Mrityu Loka and so on. But those that are really good, then what will happen? They'll follow the Surya Loka route. And from Surya Loka, they go to Satya Loka. And from Satya Loka, eventually to Vaikuntha. So that is what is described in the Vedic scripture, which is very, very interesting. So Devayana is what? So we do good sadhanas, we reach a point where we get the divine grace and all our karmic imprints are gone. Then we go to the Surya Loka, and from the not this sun, okay, that I need to make. This Surya Loka and Chandra Loka has got nothing to do with this sun and this moon. There are millions, billions of solar systems. They all have moons and sun. Okay, that is not what is being discussed. He talks about the Devata. Surya Devata's reign place, Chandra Devata's plane. So that is how we need to look at this. They are all in that Swargaloka or the subtle existence. Go to Surya Loka and then go to Satya Loka. That is called Devayana. That is what our Angirasa is saying here in Mundaka Upanishad. Whereas, of course, this Pitruyana is Panchagni Vidya. So that is again, we need to remember Panchagni Vidya, because our Angirasa has told us about Panchagni Vidya, which is the root of Pitruyana, where we will go to Swargaloka. Then we'll go to after we have enjoyed our time in Swargaloka, then we'll fall down, we come down, we spend some time in the Parjanya Loka. Then in the raindrops, we get into earth, we get into plants. Some fellow eats these plants, and then we go into their sperms, and then from sperm, there is a fertilization into the egg, and then 9 months of suffering in the womb. Then you fall down, and then you do your bad karmas and again go round in circles. Okay, Pitruyana, Devayana, just think about this. Very, very beautiful. So again, what is the ultimate? This Shatam cha eka hridayasya nadyaha tasa murdanam abhinis sruta ekaha tayor urdvan ayan amrutatvameti So again, Katha Upanishad talks about this in great detail. Go back to those verses. And Yama says, if for example, you have done great sadhanas, you have done shreyas, you have done all the things, Shravana, Manana, Dhyana, and Satyameva Labhyaha, Satyena Labhyaha, that Satya is impressed with you. Then he will say, okay, guys, come to me through the Devayana path, exit through the Sahasrara Nadi. You exit through the Sahasrara Nadi. Tarsam Murdanam Abhinisrita Ekaha. That one Nadi, Urdhvam, takes you upwards. What happens to all of us? Vishwanganya Utkramane Bhavanti. We go down, go round and round. Okay. So this route, this is the Devayana, very last birth. Yeah, it is the very last birth when this happens. Yeah, that is the path of light or the knowledge that happens. Whereas in the Panchagni Vidya, which Mundaka Upanishad has also spoken to us, Tasmad Agnihi Sabido Yasya Suryaha Somat Parjanyaha Oshadayaha Prithiviyam Puman Retas Sinchati Yoshitayam Bahvi Prajaha Purushat Samprasutaha. Go back and look at those Panchagni Vidya, which is described in Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and Mundaka Upanishad, which is our problem. Pitruyana, Swarga, Parjanya, Oshadi, male, female, fall down, go round, burnt one day and then go up. This is the story. Beautiful, beautiful philosophy of the Vedas. The more we think about it, the more vairagya that we will get in our life as to what is it that we need to do. Again, Krishna talks about this, isn't it? Chapter 8, Devayana, Pitruyana. And in Brahma Sutra, Archiradivat. So the Devayana is called the root of the Archis. Okay. Uttarayanam, Shanmasaha, Shuklaha, Ahaha, Jyotihi, Agnihi. Whereas the Pitriyana root is Dhuma, Ratrihi, Krishnaha, Shanmasaha, Dakshinayanam, Chandramasam, cloud, rain, plants, male, female body, which we have just discussed. So they all fit in so beautifully when we put everything together. And then what happens? I want to finish this ideas it's a beautiful set of ideas. So in Mundaka Upanishad, what did it say? If you go to the very early sections, if I can bring you back, what we did several months ago, we were talking about the Agni, isn't it? When you look at the fire sacrifice, Angirasa told Shuanaka, look, when you do your fire sacrifice, look at that flames, look at the two lips of the flames, consider those are the eyes of Brahman and the bottom is the mouth of Brahman. Give your ahuti in this, do the yajna like this, do the sacrifice like this. If you do that, what will happen? Angirasa said, Yehi tam ahutayaha suvarchasaha Suryasya Rashmi Bihir Yajamanam Vahanti Priyam Vacham Abhivadanti Archayantyaha Yeshavaha Punyaha Sukrute Brahmalokaha. So there, the view there is if you do that Shaunaka, you will follow the right, the Devayana, the Archi, the path of the light. You will travel across the rays of the sun and then go up and up and up, go to Satyaloka, Brahmaloka, and then ultimately to the Parabrahmaloka, which is Vaikuntha. Okay. When you take that route, what will happen? All the Pitrugana Devatas, we all do Shraddhas for various things, isn't it? This is what Yama is talking about. So those Pitrugana Devatas, he says, those radiant deities who are there, he will say, come, I'm so pleased, you're doing such good acts. Come to this world of Brahman earned by good deeds. That is what all the Pitrugana Devatas do. Now, here he is giving another higher level of philosophy. The Pitrugana Devatas have who in them? They have the Satya as their Antaryamin. And of course, the Satya is all pervasive everywhere, isn't it? That is the next level. Satyena Pantaha. This path of Devayana, okay, Satyena, it is protected by the Satya. Vitataha, look at that. Vitataha, Vitataha. Tataha means all pervasive. So this path of the Devayana where the Satyanamaka Paramatma is all pervasive. That is the path that you are going to take. If you do Satyameva Jayati na Anrutam, if you understand that, you will take that route. That is your victory. Satya, the all-pervasive, protects the souls and takes this route. Which souls take this route? Yena akramati rishayohi aptakamaha. Not all the mundane ones. It is the rishis. Rishi means what? The knowledgeables. The knowledgeables means what? The ones that have had aparoksha jnana. those chaps will take this route. Yena akramanti. I like that word akramanti. They go with lots of pride, and I mean pride in the sense they're so happy and majestically they go into this path. And these guys are described as aptakamas. Aptakamas means what? They don't have any wish of any material things. All they want is this satya, and they want to go to this satya loka. Yena akramanti rishayohi aptakamaha. Okay. So, yatra tat satyasya paramam nidanam. Where do they go eventually? Yeah, maybe they go to Satyaloka first with Chaturmukha Brahma. So that is also the Satyaloka. Remember, Satyaloka, Chaturmukha Loka. I told you about the Garbhastuti, about Satya is also a name of Vayu. Brahma Vayu's Loka is also called Satyaloka. And from there, they go to the ultimate Satyaloka. That is why Yatra Tat Satyasya Paramam Nidanam. What is that abode, the final abode? Angirasa here says, Yatra Tat Satyasya Paramam Nidanam, his highest abode. Satyasya Paramam Nidanam. That is the answer as to what the Satya is. Satya means not just the literal truth. Satya means that Vishnu's Loka. Okay. That is Paramam Nidanam. Nidanam means Sthanam. Paramam means the highest. Highest Sthanam, highest abode. Okay. So I hope you find this interesting. So we'll carry on. So it's a very profound philosophy that Angirasa is actually teaching us through Shuanaka as to what that Satyameva Jayati na Anrutam actually means. It has nothing to do with Satyameva Jayate of modern times. The philosophy there is entirely different. Okay? About the Devayana path, of all the Pitrugana Devatas who are there, and the Antaryamin of those, and the Satya who is all pervasive, who will protect so that none of the Asuras will come and bother you when you are taking that route, and ultimately you will go to Satya Loka. So that is what Angirasa is saying, and we need to, I think if Vedas are Apurushaya and the supreme source of authority, and if Atharvana Upanishad is part of the Atharva Veda, which is an Apaurushaya supremely authoritative text, and it is clearly telling us this is the route. The ones that follow the Supreme go to him. The ones that shun the Supreme are either, the shun the Supreme will 100% go to the Andhatamas, and the ones that are not at all interested in anything will go to Samsara. Okay. So these are all the ideas that are going to come in the next step. For example, who is that Paramata? Bruhacha tat divyam, achintya rupam, sukshmacha tat sukshmataram vibhati, duratsa dure tad iha antike cha pashyatsu iha heiva nihitam guhayam. He says all this Devayana path and stuff. This says he's actually right inside you. You may go to the Mahakumbh and go and do all these dipping in Ganges. You may search everywhere. Yeah. But what is the ultimate philosophy? Pashyatsu iha eva nihitam guhayam. He brings us back to the ground reality as to what we need to do. So that is what we will do in our next session. So thanks for joining us. Hare Krishna. I'll close at that point. And what I would want to do is also make an advertise. I need to give you some information for next week. So we are having our Gita Chintana, right? So I just want to remind, next week is the Gita Chintana that is being led by Suresh ji and team. So join us for Gita Chintana next week, and then we carry on with these amazing, amazing verses. Then after this comes the prana, the pancha prana, and who is inside the soul, and inside the soul is what, and so on. So if we look at Mundaka Upanishad very, very carefully, then we will understand what is that Shodasha Kalapurusha, who is that Mukhya Prana, who is inside that Mukhya Prana, where is this Mukhya Prana. All those things are discussed in Angirasa. Some folks conveniently forget not to read the Upanishads at that level or at that depth to understand what is the real philosophy. But fortunately, with our Guru's grace, we are able to understand what these Upanishads are actually telling us for our sadhana, and we'll take it up in the next class. Okay, so on that note, Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, we can discuss it now. Excellent. So no further questions. So take care, everyone. So we'll see you for Gita Chintana next week. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very good.